back again, continuing from where we left off. We had if statements. So from there we can actually create a new project. This project, we'll call it nested if, or also add to it the next statement that we want to look at. So here it goes. So we talk about some of the things that we've discussed so far, which is creating a variable where a variable can be any value that we want to name. So for example, we can even call it number. That can be our variable. So if number is equal to 12, when our number is equal to 12, we then want to do certain aspects of our if statement. So this is a nested if statement. So nesting simply means that we want to put an if statement within another if statement. So we're then saying if we open and we close brackets, we have our curly brackets. We also have another if we open and we close brackets. So we might not necessarily need to have another set of curly brackets within this if statement, simply because the fact that we've got these brackets here, it means whatever we've got in this if statement in that condition can still be met in the one concrete position. So we can actually go back to what we were talking about operators, whereby we can say number is not equal to 12 and number is greater than 0, something like that. So we know that our number is not equal to 12 and our number is less than 0, right? And then in this particular if statement, we also want to say number is equal to 11, right? So both of these statements will not give us a result. So let's just say we are expecting a result and we are saying this result is please check your number. Right? Else, if this is not met, we'll say else. In our else statement, we'll say printf, and we'll then say there must be an error in your code, like that. So if we run this project, we then get to read that there must be an error in your code. So why are we not getting anything? We're not getting anything because we are saying the condition that we've put cannot be met with these conditions. We are first of all saying our number is not equal to 12, which is not true. And we are also saying our number is greater, or rather our number is less than 0, which is also not true. If our number is equal to 11, print please check your number. Right? So if we want this to work, we might need to change a few things. Let's say, for example, we then remove the not equal to and we put an equal sign. And we close this and we run it again. It still tells us there's an error with our code. The main reason is we are trying to get two conditions. The first condition is number is equal to 12, and then the next one is number is less than 0, which can't be true. we are also then saying with our if our number is equal to 11, then we can then be able to say that. So what we need to then also do is maybe play around with the content so that the logic itself gives us what we are hoping for, right? We can also add another example, maybe after this one. It will still work, where we have another nested if. So we can call this nested if statement 2, right? Whereby we are then saying we want to be able to put more that we can work with and see how this example works. So we can say if, right, our number equals 12. So this can be met. If our number is equal to 12, we want to then say if number equal 12 and number is greater than 0, right? We want to then display the following text: correct logic, right? And put a semicolon. So, correction to what we had just done. For our nested loop, we had said I is equal to 1, I is less than 15, I iterates. And it said for I is equal to 5, I is less than 10, I iterates. So the problem that we were facing here was we're using one variable, so which then makes our loop an ending loop. So for us to fix this, we just need to simply say the following. We need to say the next variable that we want to work with is j, and outside of j, we need to also create room for this particular section of our loop and that particular section of our loop. So I can paste that and change this to j, change that to j, change that to j, change that to j, change that as well to j. If I run the program now, I'll be able to get the first values for I. I'm now getting errors for the value of I, but I'm still okay. I'm getting the values of I, but they're not in the same order. That's why we can't see. Okay, for us to see how this works, let's just put a tabbed control. Yes, that way we can then get to see what each element is. So what it then does now is it's just going to repeat. It gives us I is equal to 1, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I is equal to 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It continues, it continues, it continues until the end. So that's a little bit better than what it was doing. So at least we can see what our answer may be, or what our answer is. So at least from there we can be able to see how our nested if statement, nested for statement works. So that is our for statement. So the next statement we want to actually work with is a while statement. And the while statement goes as follows. We actually need to just name it as a while statement. And our while statement does the following, or we can use our while statement for the following. Okay, so we still need a variable. We can work with I. right? And our while statement does the following. We still need to initialize, right? We initialize I to be equal to 10. Okay, and then we say while, that is our statement, while I is less than 10, like that. And then we want to have a print f, and with our print f we want to add the following: I is %d, put a new line, put a comma, and we put I, and then we also now need to iterate the value of I. So we iterate the value of I. If we run it, sorry, I forgot an equal sign there. If we run it, okay, we actually need to rearrange this. I think that is our error. Logical error. Sorry guys, we just need to change that bit. There we go. Now we've got our while statement giving us the answer that we are looking for. So maybe before I end this video, I might need to introduce a small concept, but this small concept will still get to work with it as we work with our control statements and things like that. There's still one more statement that we need to work with, but I think I can add this bit slightly, and then we can proceed from there. So the next thing we want to actually work with is what are known as arrays. I'll just have a small intro, and then we will work with the next control statement in the next lecture. So here's what our array looks like. We need to declare our variable. We need to have the name of the variable. We need to have square brackets so that we can put values for our array. And then these values can be as follows. We say is equal to, and then we've got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, like that. So from there we can then also have a printf, and our printf simply gives us a value. So let's say we want a in brackets 0. We say equals %d, a new line, comma, a in brackets 0, like that. So if we run it, we then get to see what is at that position. So here's what our arrays pretty much do. They are pretty much our variables, but it's a variable that has got a specific size, which is what we've put in the square brackets, and we can be able to list all the values that we want to put within our array in the way that we have done. To put curly brackets, we put each value denoted by a comma until we get to the end of the array. So what it then means is each of those values we can also be able to display what those values are. So let me just do that for the next 4 values, and you can see what it does, and then we'll end the video. So this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 3, this will be 4. So we get 1 again, we get 2, we get 3, we get 4. So if we run it, we'll be able to see each of the values that we've got. So it's 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. All right, guys, that's the end of this video. I'll catch you in the next one.